Um, First thing is looks like lines, right? Oh, this is going to be easy for you guys. Okay. Half of the quiz is graphing lines. All right, so it looks like the first two problems. What do you want me to do? Want me to do like the odds and you guys do the evens?
Do the harder ones.
I don't know what's harder. I think I'll do the odds. You do the evens. I guess.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's in slope intercept form, right? So we have to identify the slope and the y-intercept of each line. Then we have to graph the line. Oh, piece of cake. Okay, slope. Let's do the y-intercept first. Y-intercept is -4 because these are in slope intercept, right? Y equals mx plus b. Where b is the y-intercept. And the coefficient of x is the slope. Okay. So the y-intercept was -4. The slope is the coefficient of x. In this case, it's 3 or 3 over 1 because we need slope and fraction, or -3 over -1. So I'm going to start at -4, the y-intercept, and then I'm going to go up 3 to the right 1, up 3 to the right 1, up 3 to the right 1. And because I want my paper to be extremely neat for Mr. D so that he can grade your papers swiftly. Yes, Anna.
Um, so the m equals 3 over 1 equals -3 over -1. How did you get the two negatives?
Um,
Because it's opposite.
well, let me ask you this.
So it's just the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, if actually, this is just division, right? So I'm taking a +3 divided by a +1 gives me +3. -3 divided by -1 is also a +3. So these are exactly the same. It depends where I'm at on the graph. Say I started at this point, I would want to go down 3 to the left 1,
Okay.
just so that I have different ways I can go.
Okay.
That's all. And I'm going to use a straight edge so Mr. D can grade your papers perfectly. Questions? And then we did graphing lines in standard form, right? This is, let's see, AX plus BY equals a constant C. So for the X intercept, I set Y equal to 0. So I have 2x minus 0 equal -3. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So x is going to equal -3/2, or you could use the point in ordered pair form, -3/2 comma 0. So -3/2, which is a -1.5, is right there. And then the y-intercept, I'm going to set x equal to 0. So I have 2 times 0 minus y equals negative 3. Divide both sides by negative 1. So y is going to equal positive 3 or 0 comma 3. 0 comma 3. I'm going to use a straight edge so Mr. D doesn't go nuts when he grades the quizzes. And that was review graphing. Then we did systems of equations, 3 different methods, right? Graphing, substitution, and elimination, which is what we did Friday. Okay, so I'm going to graph the first line. What kind of line do I have when I have x equals a number? In other words, my x is always going to be 3, right? Y can be anything it wants because it's does x is the one that's going to be stationary. So I could have 3 1, 3 2, maybe even 3 3. So 3 1, 3 2, 3 3. So what kind of line do I have? A vertical line at x equal 3. Okay, then I'm going to graph the second one. Now you get a choice here. You could use the x and y intercepts, or you can change this to slope intercept form. I'm going to use, oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll change this one to slope intercept. So I'm going to solve for y. X minus 3y equals negative 9. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. So I get negative 3y equals negative x or negative 1x minus 9. Then I'm going to divide every term by negative 3. So I get y equals negative 1, because there's a 1 there, right? Over negative 3. There's my slope. I'm going to move the x out of there so it doesn't confuse me. Negative 9 divided by negative 3 is going to be a positive 3. Okay. My y-intercept then is positive 3. My slope is the negative 1 over negative 3, or positive 1 over positive 3. Okay, let's graph this line. Y-intercept is 3. I'm going to use, let's try going up 1 to the right 3 because I think it'll intersect. Up 1 to the right 3. And there it is. So this has, remember those 3 scenarios, intersects at exactly 1 point, so it has exactly 1 solution at the point x comma 3, and it's going to go up 4. By the way, you must put your answer in as an ordered pair. Questions, comments, concerns? Now, you could have found the x and y intercepts here. The y intercept's not that bad, but the x intercept would have been way out here. So sometimes you might have to do a little extra work solving for y. Okay, substitution. And again, I know we can solve these using the three different methods: graphing, substitution, and elimination. We can use on any problem any one of the methods, but you must follow the directions, okay? In this case, we have to use substitution, and I'm looking for a variable that's isolated, or at the minimum, a variable with a coefficient of 1 so I can solve for it. If not, then I got a lot of work to do. This one, y happens to be solved for. So I'm going to take what y equals and substitute it into the other equation. So I have negative 7x minus 4. I'm going to put my parentheses in there for the substitution of y equal 13. My y is negative 7x minus 19. Okay, now I have to distribute the negative 4 over the parentheses. So I get negative 7x plus 28x plus, let's see, 36, carry the 3, 76 equals 13. Combine like terms on the same side of the equal sign. So you have a minus 7x and a plus 28x. Gives me a positive 21x. Subtract 76 from both sides. So I get 21x equals, let's see, 13, 7. So this is going to be negative, huh?
63. Negative 63. That was his answer, but it's negative 63.
Is it negative 63? Then divide by 21. So we get x is negative 3. So looking at the three different scenarios, we have an intersection at exactly one point where the x equals negative 3. All right, plug negative 3 back into one of the equations. I'm going to choose the top one. Let's see, y equals negative 7 times negative 3 minus 19. So I get 21 minus 19, so y is going to equal 2. So they intersect at the point negative 3 comma 2. We good with substitution? All right, elimination. Now remember, we're going to end up adding these together, right? If we add these two equations together, will we eliminate any of the variables? No. So since we're not going to be able to eliminate any of the variables, we're going to have to multiply one or both so that when we add them, we're going to eliminate one of the variables. Now, I'm looking at the x's because 9 is a factor of 18. In fact, if I multiply 9 by 2, I will get 18. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to multiply the bottom one by 2, but not just positive, regular 2. I'm going to multiply it by a negative 2 so that it comes out positive and they eliminate. So go ahead and distribute. Let's see. Negative 2 times negative 9x is positive 18x. Negative 2 times negative 2y is a positive 4y. And then negative 2, this time don't forget that one, it's included in the parenthesis. Negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. Then I'm just going to rewrite the top one right underneath. See, negative 18x plus 7y equals 25. Then I'm going to add these two together. And if one of the variables doesn't eliminate, then I did something wrong, right? Correct? So 18x plus negative 18, well, there's my 0. 4y plus 7y is 11y. Negative 14 plus 25 is going to be 11. Well, that's worked out nice. Divide by 11. So y is going to equal 1. So I'm going to get an intersecting lines here where my y is going to equal 1. I'm going to go back and pick one of the original equations. And I think I'll pick the bottom one only because the numbers are a little bit smaller. So I have negative 9x minus 2. I have my y. I'm going to substitute in. So I'm going to put parentheses for my y. Equals 7. My y is 1. So I have negative 9x minus 2 equals 7. Add 2 to both sides. Hey, this one's going to work out nice too. So negative 9x equals 9. Divide by negative 9. So x is going to equal negative 1. So substitution, elimination, and graphing. And then we got review of lines. That's the new stuff on your quiz tomorrow. The automatic retakes is going to be compound inequalities, which I believe was 1.5 part 2. And then the other automatic retake was going to be absolute value inequalities, which was 1.6. And I don't know if we split those up. I think we did, part 2. So let me do those. Yeah, if you got an A on it, I mean, unless you're bored, you don't need to do them on the quiz. Okay. All right. This is squished. Plus, it's a less than sign, so that means this is an and problem. And again, when it's in squished like this, always start from the middle column and then go out. So I want to get the x by itself. I'm going to add 5 to the middle column and then go out to the sides and add 5. So 59, negative 59 plus 5 is negative 54. These fives cancel. So at less than 6x less than or equal to 43 plus 5 is 48. Going to divide, again, start in the middle. Going to divide by 6, then go out to the sides, divide by 6, divide by 6. Now this is a positive 6, so I'm going to keep the signs. Negative 54 divided by 6 is negative 9. Keep the sign. X. 48 divided by 6 is positive 8. There's my inequality statement or solution. It's an and, so I know that it's going to be shaded in between on a number line, right? Either parenthesis or brackets. So let's put a number line in here. Let's see, the smaller number is my negative 9. Larger number is my 8. I know I'm going to shade in between because it's in the and statement. All I have to do is figure out, yep, this one's a parenthesis because there's no equal sign. Well, that's a parenthesis. This one is a bracket because there is an equal sign. Then your interval is exactly what's on the graph here. Okay. Parenthesis, negative 9, comma, 8, bracket. Or problems are going to be your bolt ors, right? Parenthesis or bracket, and they're going to go out to the infinities. Okay. Or problems, you're always going to have two separate inequalities to solve. Okay, solve for m. I'm going to subtract 3. Subtract 3. I get negative 9m is greater than or equal to 75 minus 3, 72. Divide by negative 9. So this time I'm dividing by a negative number. I'm going to have to flip that inequality sign. 72 divided by negative 9 is negative 8. Solve the other one. Add 2, add 2. I have 2m greater than 6. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. So m is going to be great. I should use purple. You okay?
60. That is a high risk.
That's a high rate. You better scan the nurse QR and get on the list.
No, I swallowed my water. She inhaled the water. It's fine.
That is a high risk.
All right.
I gotta go back on my now.
All right, there's my number line. Let's see, smaller number, -8. Larger number, 3. I know they're going to go out to their respective infinities. And let's see, this one gets a bracket, has an equal sign. This one gets a parenthesis, does not have an equal sign. Interval.
You always put a bracket on the infinite.
Oh, on the infinity signs, we never put a bracket there.
Okay, so okay, thank you.
-8. This one does have a bracket. Here's my empty space for my union. Parenthesis, 3, shade to positive infinity. Always gets a parenthesis. And the last ones. Um, Absolute value inequalities. This is where you have to determine. Well, first of all, always make sure your absolute value bars are by themselves. Okay. Then split them up. So I'm going to take what's inside 4n plus 9. Now, this is a less than sign, so it's going to be an and problem. Okay. So 4n plus 9 is, now I like my negatives first. So I'm going to put my -21.
Scooch it over a little bit.
Oh,
There you go.
thank you. Okay, so I'm going to use -21, which means I'm going to have to flip the sign. And 4n plus 9 is less than +21. Okay, I have two problems to solve. Subtract 9, subtract 9. I get 4n is greater than -30, and we get a lovely number here. Divide by 4. So n is less than -30 but we could reduce, or I'm sorry, greater than -30, and we could reduce that to 15 halves. So, okay, to the other inequality, subtract 9, subtract 9. I get 4n is less than 12. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. I get n is less than 3. Graph it. I know it's an and problem. It's going to be in between my smaller number, -15 halves, larger number, 3, and it is, there are no equal signs, so parentheses. And my interval, -15 halves, comma 3, parentheses. And then the last one I'm doing. Now be careful because my absolute value bars are not isolated. So I'm going to have to subtract 3 first. Okay, so I have the absolute value of p minus 10 as less than 5 minus 3 is 2. Now, none of these can be used anymore. I have to use the 2. So I'm going to take p minus 10, negative 2. See, I'm going to flip it. This is an and problem, another and problem. Take what's inside. P minus 10 is going to be less than 2. Okay, add 10, add 10. So P is going to be greater than 8, and
Well,
yep, P is going to be less than 12. Graph it. Smaller number, larger number. I know it's going to be shade in between because of and neither one of them have an equal sign. So again, it's going to be parentheses. So parenthesis 8 comma 12 parentheses. Questions, comments, concerns? It's going to be should be a relatively good quiz. Get a grade. Good grade.